Yes, so BYD have announced that their newest EV platform is going to be capable of charging at up to 1 megawatt of power, which is really an unprecedented jump forward for the passenger vehicle.
BYD stands as China's best-selling car brand and leads the world in electric vehicle production with over 4.3 million vehicles in 2024. Now the CEO of BYD has unveiled a shift in the electric vehicle race, and it could rewrite the entire game. No, this is a brand new kind of engine, and the way it works is so next level, even the loudest skeptics are scrambling to understand it. And trust me, what we uncover by the end of this video, it might just make you see the entire auto industry in a totally new light. Inside the new engine BYD, the Chinese automaker that's been quietly making big moves behind the scenes for a while now, just pulled off something massive in the world of hybrid vehicles. And trust me, when the news dropped, people in the industry didn't just raise their eyebrows, they pretty much dropped their jaws. So here's what went down. BYD introduced their 5th generation DM technology, and it is something else entirely. They literally unveiled what's being called the most efficient combustion engine ever created for mass-produced cars. Not just in China, but in the world. Can you imagine? Now the whole thing happened at this big event in Lebanon, and let me tell you, the buzz wasn't just marketing fluff. We're talking about engineers, experts, and car nerds alike genuinely stunned by what they saw. The two showstopper models they revealed, Qin LDMI and Seal 06 DMI, were more than just pretty faces. These cars were built with a purpose, and that purpose? To shake the table. And not just gently, more like flip the whole thing over and tell the rest of the car world to catch up. What if I told you the biggest shock in the electric vehicle world isn't coming from Tesla, but from BYD? Yep, you heard that right. While everyone's been watching Elon, the CEO of BYD has been quietly working on a brand new engine that might just flip the whole EV game upside down. This engine isn't just different, it's wildly smarter, surprisingly cheaper, and might be the key to making gas-powered cars completely outdated. But how exactly does it work? And why are experts saying this could shake the entire industry to its core? Buckle up and stay with us till the very end, because this story goes way deeper than just another car upgrade. It's about the future of driving as we know it. So, what's so special about this 5th generation system? Well, first off, the setup includes a super smart 1.5-liter petrol engine, nothing too crazy sounding at first glance, right? But wait for it, this engine alone produces 99 horsepower and 93 pound-feet of torque, which might sound standard until you pair it with an electric motor. And not just one option either, they give you choices. You can get it with either a 161 horsepower motor or a more powerful 215 horsepower version, depending on the model. That means you can pick what works best for your lifestyle, whether you're zipping around town or want something with a little more oomph. But here's where things get wild, the range. Hold onto your seat, these babies can go 2,100 kilometers on a full tank and charge. That's 1,304 miles. Like, are you kidding me? That's basically driving from LA to Seattle and back without refueling. What kind of sorcery is that? It's not just impressive, it's absolutely game-changing. This kind of range used to be the dream for electric or hybrid vehicles, and now it's a real thing you could actually buy and drive. They didn't stop there though, BYD's smart like that. They know everyone drives differently, so they created not one, not two, but 3 versions of their DM system. There's the DMI, which is perfect for your average daily driver who just wants crazy efficiency without thinking about it. Then there's the DMP, which is for people who want their hybrid to go, like proper performance with hybrid brains. And then, this one made me chuckle a bit, there's the DMO, which is designed for off-roading. Yes, you heard right. A hybrid you can take off-road. Who would have thought? Even the battery options are tailored to different needs. They range from 10.8 kilowatt-hours to 15.87 kilowatt-hours, and depending on what you choose, you'll get between 80 to 120 kilometers of electric-only driving. So if you're just running errands or doing school runs, you could go days without even touching a drop of fuel. Doesn't that sound dreamy? But the real secret sauce, the real flex here, is what BYD calls their electric-centric power architecture. Basically, unlike older hybrids that rely mainly on the gas engine and just use electric as backup, BYD flips that around. The electric system does most of the work, and the engine just jumps in when it's needed. This whole setup leads to such insane efficiency, it's actually kind of ridiculous, in a good way, of course. And speaking of efficiency, get this, the engine hits a thermal efficiency of 46.06%. Now, if you're like me, you might be thinking, okay, is that a big deal? But oh my goodness, yes, it is. It's huge. Toyota used to hold the crown for the most thermally efficient engine in a production car at around 41%, which was already pretty nuts. BYD just snatched that crown and added 5 extra points like it was nothing. Most regular gas engines? They're only about 20 to 30% efficient, which means most of that expensive fuel you're paying for turns into heat and not motion. And even Formula One engines, those million-dollar beasts, only reach about 50% efficiency. BYD is now right up there with racing tech, but in an actual road car that regular people can buy. Wild, right? So how did they pull this off? It wasn't just luck or throwing money at the problem. It's all in the details. They pushed the compression ratio up to 16, which is basically squeezing every last bit of energy out of each drop of fuel. They also added a super precise combustion control system, a smart lubrication system to reduce friction, because every little bit counts, and split cooling systems that manage heat like pros. And here's the best part, if the battery's low and the engine kicks in, you're still only using 2.9 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers. That's like getting over 80 miles per gallon. And it's not some tiny, uncomfortable clown car either. This is a legit, comfy, family-sized car. Like, what? How is this even real? The improvements don't stop there. The whole hybrid system, which they call the EHS, now works at 92% overall efficiency. That's a 5% jump from before. They've also made it 70% more power dense, which just means it's smaller, lighter, and way more powerful than before. Less weight, more performance, better everything. At the end of the day, what BYD has done isn't just an upgrade, it's a massive leap forward. They are now holding 3 world records with this tech: highest engine thermal efficiency, lowest fuel consumption, and longest driving range in a hybrid. That's not just impressive, that's industry-shaking. The role of Blade Battery in BYD's breakthrough. BYD, the car company that's been quietly shaking things up in the EV world, isn't just making noise because of its fancy engines or sleek car designs. The real magic? It's all happening in the battery. So let's break it down. You know how most electric cars run on those lithium-ion batteries, right? The ones with those chunky cells packed into modules that eat up a ton of space? Yeah, BYD looked at that and went, we can do better. And boy, did they deliver. Instead, they're laid out across the full width of the battery pack, almost like stacking books on a shelf edge to edge. There's no wasted space. No bulky frames. Just efficient, tightly packed energy goodness. That tight packing? It means they've boosted the energy density by around 50% compared to other lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, batteries. That's huge. Like, think about it, more energy, less space. Who doesn't want that in an EV? And get this, the Blade battery ditches the usual nickel-manganese cobalt, NMC, chemistry that most EV batteries use. Instead, BYD uses LFP, which is so much more stable and safer. Plus, it's cheaper and better for the environment. But wait, why does that even matter? Well, here's the thing, NMC batteries, while powerful, can be a bit, let's say, dramatic under stress. They overheat. They catch fire. And they sometimes go full firecracker if things go wrong. LFP, on the other hand, is the chill cousin. Doesn't overheat easily, doesn't blow up when you look at it sideways. And BYD took that chill chemistry and made it even safer. Want proof? Let me paint you a picture. They literally drove a nail through one of these blade cells during a test. Like, imagine stabbing a phone battery. What do you think happens? Boom, fire, chaos, right? But with BYD's Blade battery? Nothing. No smoke, no flames, no drama. Just silence. Can your iPhone do that? Didn't think so. But it's not just about being tough. The Blade battery is smart too. It has this thermal management thing going on that's honestly impressive. Most batteries need these big, complicated cooling systems to stay in check. BYD's battery? It barely needs any of that. It just stays cool by design. Less cooling means fewer parts, fewer breakdowns, and more room for other tech or to keep the car lighter and zippier. I mean, come on, who doesn't want a ride that charges faster, runs longer, and weighs less? Speaking of charging, this battery charges fast. Like, really fast. Because of its low internal resistance and solid thermal control, it can handle high charging speeds without frying itself. So you're not stuck at a charging station for ages. Just plug it in, grab a coffee, and you're good to go. And here's another perk that's easy to overlook. The way they designed this battery means it's part of the car's actual structure. It's helping hold the car together. That means less extra weight from additional supports, and a stronger overall frame. Who even thinks of that? Apparently, BYD does. But the part that really made me raise my eyebrows? This battery is a marathon runner. It's not one of those things that works great for a year and then dies on you. Nope. It keeps about 90% of its capacity even after 3,000 charge cycles. That's way more than what most batteries can handle. So not only does it perform like a beast, it also lasts long enough to keep your wallet happy and the planet a little greener. You don't have to worry about replacing it anytime soon, which, let's be honest, is a relief because EV battery replacements can cost a small fortune. Out of nowhere, BYD CEO just introduced an engine that has car lovers, engineers, and investors completely stunned. Is it a hybrid? Is it something brand new? Stick around, because once we walk you through what this engine can actually do, and how it compares to everything else out there, you'll understand why the CEO is so confident. How BYD's Xuanji architecture powers the future. BYD didn't stop at electric cars. They built this crazy, advanced digital system called the Xuanji architecture. It's kind of like the brain, the nerves, and the instincts of the car, all rolled into one. I mean, if cars had personalities, this system would be the one that knows where you're going, how to get there, what kind of road you'll hit, and whether it's going to rain in 5 minutes. So, you know how in regular cars, there are like a zillion little control boxes tucked in everywhere, one for the engine, one for the brakes, one for the air conditioning, another one for the backup camera, and so on? It's a mess of little brains trying to run their own shows. Well, BYD flipped the script. Instead of having all these scattered mini-computers talking to each other, and sometimes not so smoothly, they built one big smart system that pulls everything together in one place. That's what this Xuanji thing does. It centralizes all the thinking, like putting all the smartest people in one room instead of yelling across the house. The result? Way faster decision-making, like microseconds faster. Now you might think, microseconds? Who even notices that? But when you're talking about automatic braking or lane changing at high speeds, that tiny sliver of time can literally be the difference between safety and disaster. And get this, it's not just about speed. It's also super reliable. They built it with backup systems on backup systems, so if one thing fails, there's another piece right there ready to jump in. It's like having a co-pilot for your co-pilot. Honestly, it's kind of reassuring to know that if something goes wrong while you're driving, the car won't just freak out and give up, it'll keep going like, don't worry, I got this. But wait, it gets cooler. You know how phones get updates all the time? Like, suddenly your iPhone can do something new overnight? BYD is doing that with their cars. Because everything is centralized, they can push updates to the whole car at once. No need to go to the shop or plug in anything weird, it just updates itself like magic. It's the kind of smooth experience people expect from smartphones, but in a car. Now, let's talk about sensors for a second, because this part honestly blew my mind. The Xuanji architecture doesn't just collect info from one or two sensors, oh no. It brings in data from everywhere, radar, cameras, ultrasonic sensors, millimeter wave systems, you name it. And instead of treating each sensor like a separate voice, it blends them all together, like a tech smoothie. So the car doesn't just see with a camera or feel with radar, it builds a complete picture of what's going on around it. It's like giving the car a sixth sense. And here's the thing, it can even adjust which sensors it relies on depending on what's happening. Say it's pouring rain and the camera's visibility is trash? No problem. It shifts focus to radar and ultrasonic sensors that don't care about rain. Isn't that kind of genius? But you know what really makes the whole system feel like it's from the future? It's this thing called DeepSeek AI that works hand in hand with the Xuanji architecture. And the way it learns? It's not just sitting in one car either. It's pulling from a whole network of vehicles, running simulations, and refining its choices through trial and error. It's like every BYD on the road is part of one giant learning brain, and they all benefit from what the others experience. Plus, DeepSeek even keeps track of the tiny stuff, like the way parts perform over time. If your battery or motor or even your air conditioning fan starts acting a little off, the system notices before you do. It's like having a mechanic living in your dashboard that never sleeps. And the best part? It doesn't wait for stuff to break. It sees the signs, flags them early, and helps prevent breakdowns. That's more time on the road and less time at the shop. Who wouldn't want that? DI Pilot and the rise of AI-driven driving. BYD just casually shook the whole industry on February 10, 2025. Like, no warning, no build-up, they came out swinging with something they call the DI Pilot Advanced Intelligent Driving Assistance System, and honestly, it's not just a new feature, it's a whole new way of thinking about what a car can do. And I don't mean little tweaks or some flashy marketing gimmick. No, this is a serious, game-changing leap forward. Like, if you've ever dreamed of a car that practically drives itself, understands the road better than some people do, and keeps learning like it's got a brain? That's exactly what BYD just rolled out. And they did it right at their Shenzhen headquarters like it was just another day. I mean, can you imagine? The real magic behind all this is something called the DeepSeek R1 model. Now, I know, that name sounds super technical, almost like it belongs in a sci-fi movie, right? What makes it even cooler is that it doesn't just follow pre-programmed rules like older systems used to. The R1 uses neural networks, basically a fancy way of saying it thinks more like a human. So instead of panicking when it sees something weird on the road, it actually understands what's happening. Like, it can look at a rainy street and still spot pedestrians, lane lines, cars, and even random objects on the road. And it doesn't stop there. If something dangerous pops up out of nowhere, it makes a decision in a split second. Like, who needs a superhero when your car has reflexes that sharp? Now, get this. They didn't just put this tech into one super expensive luxury car. Nope. They created 3 versions of the DI Pilot system. There's the DI Pilot 600, which is the top-tier one with 3 LiDAR sensors. Those are the high-tech eyes that map out the environment, and it's meant for their fancy Yangwang models. Then there's the DI Pilot 300, which uses 1 LiDAR and goes into their Denza line and some other BYD models. But here's the kicker. Even their most budget-friendly cars get the DI Pilot 100, which uses a smart camera-based setup. Like, we're talking cars that cost less than $10,000, and they're still rolling out with tech that would have sounded impossible 5 years ago. Who else is doing that? Really, who? And don't even get me started on what this system can do. Ever heard of HNOA, high-speed navigation on autopilot? It's like cruise control's cooler, smarter cousin. The car follows your GPS, handles highway ramps like a pro, stays in its lane, and even dodges obstacles if something's in the way. Oh, and under the right conditions? It can drive over 1,000 kilometers without you touching the wheel. But wait, there's more. There's also automated valet parking. Girl, you can just hop out of your car and let it park itself. Like, really? You get out, and the car finds a spot and slides right in without you lifting a finger. And it does it with a 99% success rate. Can you even imagine how clutch that is at a crowded mall or airport? Then there's memory navigation on autopilot, that one literally learns your daily routes. So, if you take the same drive to work or to pick up the kids, it remembers all of it, the traffic lights, the tricky turns, even how to squeeze past that one delivery truck that always blocks the corner. It's honestly spooky, but also kind of amazing. And you know what really blew my mind? This system is like a student who never stops studying. Every time someone drives a BYD car with DI Pilot, it gathers more info, learns from real road situations, and sends it back to the cloud. That means the whole system just keeps getting smarter every single day. It's what they call the flywheel effect. More drivers mean more data. More data means better AI. Better AI means even more people want to drive BYD cars. It's like this endless loop of improvement, and honestly, it's genius. Right now, BYD has over 4.4 million vehicles out there with at least level 2 driving assistance. That's millions of cars collecting data every day, and not just a little. We're talking 72 million kilometers of driving data uploaded to the cloud daily. Like, how does your brain even wrap around that number? And all this is happening while they still respect driver privacy. Cameras, radar, and sensors gather what's needed to train the AI without being creepy about it. And thanks to this massive stream of real-world learning, DI Pilot keeps getting better at things like emergency braking. It used to be reliable up to 100 kilometers per hour, but now they're pushing it to 120 kilometers per hour, and soon even 140 kilometers per hour. That's not just impressive, it's life-saving. And they're not just winging it either. BYD has over 5,000 engineers working full-time on this autonomous tech. Like, 5,000 people whose entire job is to make these cars smarter, safer, and more helpful. They've spent 7 years building this up. 7. So this isn't a rushed product. They've been perfecting it behind the scenes while the rest of the world was still trying to figure out how to pronounce LiDAR. At the heart of all of it is something they call the Xuanji architecture, which, honestly, sounds like a mystical artifact, right? But it's basically the brain that connects the car's internal systems with DeepSeek's AI. It links everything together: the sensors, the data, the decision-making, all of it. Plus, it taps into 5G and satellite networks to stay constantly updated and alert. So if something changes on the road, the car reacts in real time. It doesn't need to wait for some tech at a repair shop to update the software manually. It's all over the air, baby. Like your phone updating while you sleep, only now it's your car getting smarter overnight. Honestly, the more I think about it, the more it feels like we're living in the future, except it's here right now, and it costs less than a used sedan in some places. BYD's not just showing off, they're quietly revolutionizing how we think about cars, safety, and what driving can even be. And with tech like this, it's not just about convenience, it's about leveling the playing field. They're making sure even regular folks, not just luxury car owners, get access to world-class autonomous driving. But BYD isn't stopping at just making cars smarter, they're flipping the entire EV game on its head too. What they're doing with DI Pilot was just the beginning. Now, let's talk about how their engine tech is shaking up the global auto industry for real. How this engine disrupts the global EV industry. BYD have been quietly doing their thing for years. Like, not a lot of noise, no Elon Musk-type headlines, no flashy Cybertruck drama, just steady progress. And now? They've fully shaken the table. We're talking about their 5th-generation engine tech literally changing the entire vibe of the global electric vehicle scene. Like, they're not just playing catch-up with the big names anymore, they're out here leading the charge. And the craziest part? They made this bold decision to stop making combustion-only cars all the way back in 2022. And the impact? It's been loud. Especially for Tesla. You know how for the longest time, Tesla was like the Beyoncé of electric cars? Just dominating everything, being the cool kid on the block, making everyone else look like they were still stuck in 2008. But now? BYD has become this quiet powerhouse that's giving Tesla a real run for its money, and I mean that literally. Did you know BYD actually outsold Tesla globally more than once? And not just by a hair, we're talking billions. In Q3 of 2023 alone, BYD pulled in $28.2 billion in revenue, while Tesla earned $25.18 billion. I mean, that's not pocket change. That's the kind of difference that makes boardrooms panic. And let's not even get started on the pricing. BYD is making cars that are eerily similar to Tesla's Model 3, but they're like 15% cheaper. 15%. That kind of price gap hits hard, especially when people are watching their budgets and trying to figure out if EVs are even worth it. And you know who's sweating even more than Tesla? The traditional car companies, the ones that have been around for what feels like forever. Mercedes-Benz, for example, had this grand plan to go full electric by 2030. Well, guess what? They've started quietly backpedaling on that. And Ford? They were going to pour $12 billion into electrification, but now they've pushed that back, too. Meanwhile, BYD is like that kid in class who finishes the project early and starts working on extra credit, They're already pushing into international markets like it's nothing. They're not waiting around for anyone. They're going global and doing it with confidence. And here's what really makes BYD stand out. They didn't fall into that all-or-nothing trap. Tesla, as we all know, is strictly electric. Like, no hybrids allowed. That's their brand. But BYD? They were like, why not both? They embraced hybrids and EVs, which was honestly such a smart move. Because let's be real, as much as we all want to save the planet, a lot of people still freak out about range anxiety. Like, what if my battery dies on the highway in the middle of nowhere? BYD looked at that fear and said, cool, let's fix it. Their hybrid systems can go up to 2,000 kilometers. That's basically a road trip across multiple countries without needing to plug in. And isn't that what people really want, freedom and sustainability? Now, if we're talking big picture, like, what does all this mean for the future of cars, then BYD might actually be speeding up the whole transition away from gas engines. And what's super interesting is how Stella Lee, one of BYD's top execs, put it. She said BYD doesn't see Tesla as the enemy. Instead, they see them as a possible partner against what she called the common enemy, the old-school combustion engine. I mean, how iconic is that? It's like two superheroes deciding to team up to defeat the real villain: pollution, outdated tech, and overpriced gas cars. And speaking of price, that's where BYD might really win the long game. Because no matter how fancy a car is, if people can't afford it, it's just another dream sitting in a showroom. But BYD? They're rolling out models like the Dolphin for around £25,490 in the UK. And in China? Even less. Because once EVs become affordable, the floodgates open. Innovation speeds up. Competition gets fierce. And the consumer? We get all the benefits, better prices, more options, cooler tech, fewer emissions, and just an overall smarter way to get around. But for the old-school car companies? They've got a tough decision to make. Do they invest the time and money to build their own advanced systems from scratch, or do they just swallow their pride and license the tech from someone like BYD who's already years ahead? Either way, it's kind of wild to see how this one company has managed to shake up the whole global industry, almost under the radar, and is now forcing everyone, Tesla, Ford, Mercedes, all of them, to rethink how they move forward. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories.